Welcome back to the Heart Sutra channel, everyone. Ready to dive into something really mind-bending today.
Always up for a good mind bending.
We're tackling Chapter 10 of the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, yeah.
The Opulence of the Absolute.
Now that's a title that grabs you, doesn't it?
It really does. Like, what does that even mean? Opulence of the Absolute. It sounds almost too much, you know?
Well, and that's what's so cool about this chapter.
Oh,
it's not just some, divine resume listing off attributes. It's more like a framework for understanding how the divine force actually works in the world.
So less a list and more of a, cosmic instruction manual. I like that.
Right. And what's really interesting is how Krishna describes himself here.
Yeah.
It's not all just sitting in a cave meditating. He talks about being the best priest, the mightiest warrior, even the vast ocean. You don't always picture that when you think deity.
Definitely not. So not your typical image of a god, then.
Nope. And it all starts with this bold statement right at the beginning.
Lay it on us.
Krishna says, and I'm going to try my best with the Sanskrit here, Ajopisana vietma bhutanam ushvaropi sampatit svam adithaya sambhavame atmamaya.
Got it, I think.
Yeah.
Break that down for us, though. What does all that Sanskrit actually mean?
So essentially what Krishna is saying is even though he's unborn and unchanging, that's the Ajal Pisana Vyatma part.
Okay.
He's still the Lord of all beings, Bhutanam Yishvaro Pisan, and he actively participates in creation
Whoa.
through his own internal energy, what's called Atma Maya.
Yeah, I'm going to need a minute to process all that. But the part that really sticks out to me is this idea that he's actually involved in creation.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the typical hands-off, distant God idea.
It completely changes the picture. This Atma Maya thing, his internal energy, that's key. It's saying the divine isn't just some abstract force out there. It's actively shaping, influencing the world around us.
So we're not talking about some deity watching from afar. Krishna's in the game making things happen.
Yeah. Exactly. And that changes how we view everything, doesn't it?
For sure. Like, if the divine force is really active in the world, how does that change our choices,
Right.
our actions, how we even see everyday stuff? Big questions.
Huge questions. And that kind of leads us to another amazing part of chapter 10, where Krishna goes on to describe himself in all these unexpected ways.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that earlier.
He says, Puratasaka muhyame vidiparta bahaspatim sinanamama asettasasam asmi sagara.
Oh boy, more Sanskrit. Luckily, I know you've got the translation handy.
I do. So in this verse, Krishna is revealing himself as, get this, the best among priests,
Okay.
the mightiest warrior,
Wow.
and the vastest ocean.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Wise priest, powerful warrior, and huge ocean. It's like he's saying the divine isn't limited to just one image.
Exactly. He's pushing us to expand our understanding of what the divine can be.
Right.
It's not just temples in scriptures, it's the courage of a warrior, the wisdom of a teacher, the vastness of the ocean.
It's like he's saying, look, I'm everywhere. You can find me in everything. But how do you even begin to grasp that? It's almost too much.
It is a lot to take in, but that's why he uses such vivid imagery, to awaken us to the fact that the divine is woven into existence itself.
I see.
It's in the mountain's strength, the river's flow, even a flower's beauty. It's not just some far-off concept.
Okay.
It's something you can actually experience.
Right, but how do we make that connection? Actually see the divine in everyday life. That's the hard part.
And that is where things get really interesting and what we're going to keep exploring as we go deeper into chapter 10.
I am ready. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're talking about seeing the divine in our everyday lives, but how is that even possible with all the distractions, the challenges we all face? Life isn't exactly a peaceful mountain vista all the time, right?
You're so right. There's a lot that can block that connection, and chapter 10 actually talks about that directly. It talks about the mode of ignorance, which can be a big roadblock on the spiritual path. Listen to this verse. Tamas TV, Jinanajav Vidi Mohana, Sarvadehinam Pramadalasya Nidravis, Tani Badnati Parata.
All right, another Sanskrit quote for us to ponder. What's the main idea there? Is this mode of ignorance just about, not knowing things?
It's deeper than just lacking knowledge. It's about being disconnected from our true selves and from the divine.
Okay.
So this verse, it's explaining that this mode of ignorance, tamas tivya janajavid, is a delusion, mohana sarvadehinam, that binds the soul, through carelessness, laziness, and sleep. Those are the pramadalasya nidravis.
So it's more like a state of being stuck, almost like we're sleepwalking through life, not really present or aware of the divine around us.
That's a great way to put it. And the Gita doesn't sugarcoat it, It calls out the folks trapped in this mindset as natapano opabuddha,
Right.
meaning like they've lost touch with themselves, lacking intelligence.
Yikes. That's a little harsh, isn't it? So is it saying some people are just doomed to be disconnected?
Not at all. Remember, it's about potential. Even those caught in this demonic mindset, as the Gita calls it, can transform.
Cool.
It's not about judging people, but recognizing that some ways of being just make it harder to connect with the divine.
So even for those who seem totally lost in the material world, driven by, I don't know, selfishness or greed, there's still hope.
Absolutely. The Gita offers a path for everyone. It emphasizes recognizing our own tendencies, seeing where we might be falling into those patterns of ignorance.
Okay, so we got to see those negative patterns, but then what? How do we actually make that shift?
It starts with small, conscious choices, but made consistently. Choosing activities that uplift you, connecting with nature, surrounding yourself with people who inspire you. It's about cultivating practices that help you become more present, more aware.
That makes sense, like training our minds to see the world differently, to notice those divine sparks we might have been missing.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of seeing things differently, I want to go back to those diverse manifestations of Krishna we were talking about earlier. The Gita doesn't just throw out these abstract ideas, it gives us real examples.
Like the verse about the priest, the warrior, and the ocean. I'm not forgetting that one.
Right, but it goes even further than that. Krishna identifies himself with the Himalayas, the Ganges River,
Wow.
the celestial elephant Airavata, even the king of trees. It's this incredible tapestry of images covering the whole natural world.
So it's not just about finding the divine in human qualities like courage or wisdom.
Right, he's saying the divine is in everything. Think about the Himalayas, their power and majesty, the Ganges, its life-giving flow, the strength and grace of an elephant, the resilience of a tree, its beauty. These are all reflections of that divine force.
That's such a beautiful way to look at it. Makes you want to go out and really appreciate nature,
It really does. And that sense of wonder you feel when you connect with nature, that awe, that's a glimpse of the divine shining through, reminding us we're not just isolated individuals, but part of this incredible web of life.
I see how it all ties together. I really do. But there's this one big question I can't shake. If Krishna embodies all of existence, all these qualities, does that mean Wadi have the potential to express that divinity too?
Now that's the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? And we're all exploring that on our own spiritual journeys.
All right.
The Gita suggests we are all sparks of the divine, each with our own unique potential to contribute to the world.
So maybe it's not about becoming Krishna, but about finding and expressing our own unique divinity.
Exactly. And maybe that's the point of this whole exploration, uncovering new layers of ourselves, finding those hidden potentials and letting them shine through. But there's another key piece to this puzzle: surrender.
Uh-oh, surrender. That word always makes me nervous. Isn't that about giving up, losing control?
That's a common misconception. The kind of surrender the Gita talks about is actually incredibly empowering.
Really?
It's about aligning ourselves with a higher power and accessing a deeper strength, deeper freedom.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How can surrendering to something make you more powerful? Okay, so we're getting into this idea of surrender and how it can be more empowering than it sounds. But I'm still a little confused. How can letting go actually give you more strength and freedom?
It is kind of a paradox, isn't it? It's one of those things you run into on the spiritual path. Think of it like this: when we try to control everything, force things to go our way, we create so much tension inside, It's like trying to swim against a strong current. You might make a little progress, but it's exhausting. You're fighting constantly.
Oh, I know that feeling, that upstream battle. But how does surrendering change that?
Well, surrender is about aligning with the flow of life, trusting that there's a greater intelligence at work, even when we can't see the whole picture. It's letting go of that need to control everything, allowing ourselves to be guided by something bigger than just our ego.
So it's not about being passive, just giving up entirely.
No, not at all. It's more about acting from a place of inspired action, letting the divine will work through us. It's like, imagine being an instrument in the hands of a really skilled musician.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's not as easy as just flipping a switch. suddenly you're in total surrender, right?
Right. It's definitely a practice, something we cultivate over time. One really powerful practice is just being present in each moment, you know?
Oh, yeah.
When you're fully engaged with what you're doing, whether it's washing the dishes or having a conversation, you naturally let go of worrying about the past or the future.
So mindfulness is a big part of this.
Absolutely. And another key ingredient is gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah. When we focus on all the good things in our lives, even the small things, it shifts our perspective. We move from scarcity to abundance. We start to see how much support we already have.
It's like that saying, gratitude turns what we have into enough.
Exactly. And from that place of gratitude and presence, we become more open to guidance, to divine guidance. We start to notice those synchronicities, those opportunities, that sense of flow that we might have missed before.
Like we're tuning in to a frequency that was always there, but we couldn't quite hear it before.
That's a great way to put it. And as we keep practicing surrender, there's this deep sense of peace, of liberation that comes. We realize we don't have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders.
That sounds truly freeing. But what about those times when things are really hard? Like when we're dealing with loss or uncertainty or big challenges, can you still surrender in those moments?
That's when it becomes even more important. It's about trusting that even in the midst of difficulty, there's a higher purpose unfolding. It doesn't mean pretending everything's okay or denying the pain. It's about acknowledging what is, accepting it, and then surrendering to the flow of life, knowing that we're not alone in the process.
I can see how that shift in perspective could be really powerful.
It really is. And remember, we're not just talking about spiritual surrender here. We can practice this in our relationships, at work, even in creative pursuits. It's about letting go of rigid expectations and opening ourselves up to new possibilities.
This has been such an incredible conversation. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface of Chapter 10, though.
There's so much there, endless insights. But if there's one thing I hope listeners take away, it's this. The divine isn't some distant, abstract thing. It's part of everything. It's in the mountain's strength, the river's flow, even the stillness of your own breath.
Wow.
And when we open ourselves to that, when we cultivate presence, gratitude, surrender, we tap into a power that's far greater than anything we could do on our own.
That is beautiful and such a powerful reminder for all of us. And if you're feeling inspired to explore these ideas further, definitely check out the other resources here on the Heart Sutra channel. We've got guided meditations, insightful articles, and a whole community of seekers just like you.
We believe everyone can connect with the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, no matter your background, your beliefs. So join us on this journey of self-discovery and explore the infinite possibilities waiting for you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Heart Sutra channel. Until next time, may you find peace, clarity, and a deep connection to the divine within and all around you.